Okay, so 2.4, section 2.4 is more about linear equations. So we're going to get into some point slope form and graphing with intercepts. So this is another thing that you should probably have memorized. The equation of a line in point slope is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Alright, so now write an equation of each line that passes through the point -1, 3. So let's put it into point slope form. So we have the point, this is x1, this is y1. So let's just plug in the pieces. So we would have y minus y1, which is 3, equals 4 parentheses x minus x1, which would be -1. So let's redo that. Minus -1, so we'll just do +1. Same thing. You could write x minus -1 if you want, but I'm not going to. And it's not wrong, it just looks a little crazy. Okay, that's all you have to do for that one. Alright, the next one we have the slope of -2/3, so it'll be the same point, y minus 3 equals -2/3 parentheses x plus 1. And that's it. Alright, now, so another example, a line passes through the following points. What is an equation of the line in point slope? So we have a couple steps. Let's write these down somewhere. So step 1 is find the slope. Step 2, pick one point. They gave you 2. So pick one of them. It doesn't matter which one. And then plug in to point slope. And that's all you have to do. So we have, find the slope first. M equals 9 minus 1 over 7 minus 5. So that would be 8 over 2, which simplifies to be 4. Alright, pick a point, doesn't matter. Let's pick this one. It has smaller numbers. That's the only reason, right? It doesn't matter at all. So you could do y minus, your y1 is 1, equals 4 parentheses x minus 5. Or say you picked the other point. You were like, nope, I want to do this one. It would be y minus 9 equals 4 parentheses x minus 7. Either way works. Doesn't matter. Whichever you prefer. Alright, the next one, if you want to try to pause the video and work it out on your own, feel free. So let's first find the slope. So we have the slope is 15 minus 10 over -6 minus -4. That becomes plus positive, so we have 5 over -2. So remember, with slope, you never convert it to a mixed number, so -2 and 1/2. Don't ever do that with slope. You always leave it improper. So now let's go ahead and plug it in. We have y minus 10 equals -5 halves x, and since it's a -4, let's plus 4 because it's minus negative. Okay, the next section, now let's talk about standard form. So this one's a little bit trickier. You have to kind of think a little bit. So here is the standard form of a line, probably the least common way, maybe not. So you have ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are real numbers. So that could be a fraction, it could be a decimal, negative, positive, and a and b are both not 0. So that's the standard form of a line. So now this next part, and this is what the homework is going to ask you to do, is what is an equation of the line written in standard form? So we're going to try to convert these back to something that looks like this. But the trick is you have to have integer coefficients. Do you know what integers are? Well, those are positive and negative. So that's one thing they are. It could be 0, but it cannot be, so there's no fractions and no decimals. Okay, so no fractions or no decimals. As you can see in both of these, we have fractions and decimals, so we have to get a little fancy and figure out how to get rid of them. So on this first one, let's first start by getting the x and y on one side. So I'm going to minus 2/5 x, minus 2/5 x. So I have negative 2/5 x plus y equals negative 3. Okay, so how do I get rid of that fraction? Think about it. It might take you a second. What would happen if I multiplied the fraction by a number? Let's say 5. Well, the fraction would cancel, so it would become negative 2x plus 5y equals negative 3. Is everything an integer? Yep, they are. So it works. That would be your answer. Okay, this next one. Let's do the same first step. So get all the x's and y's on one side. So minus 4.2x. So I have negative 4.2x plus y equals 7.9. Okay? Any ideas to get rid of these decimals? It takes a second to think about. If you want to pause the video, pause it. What you're going to do is you're going to have to multiply it by 10. If you multiply it by 10, you'll move the decimal place one place over. 4.2 times 10 is 42. And so that's what we're going to have to do. So 10 times negative 4.2 would be negative 42x plus 10y equals 79. Okay, and that will be your answer because they're all in integers. Okay, next one. What are intercepts? So if you don't remember from Algebra 1, intercepts are where the line crosses the axes, the plural form of axis. So the axes. Don't say axes. That's not correct. It's axes. Okay, so the x-intercept is where it crosses x-axis. So the y-intercept has to be where it crosses the y-axis. Alright, remember from Algebra 1, how do you find intercepts? So your x-intercept is when you set y equal to 0. So you do the opposite. And your y-intercept is whenever you set x equal to 0. Okay, so find the intercepts of the following lines, then graph the equation. Even if you know other ways, if you can remember other ways to graph, let's just do it this way for now. So let's find the intercepts. So the x-intercept is when y equals 0. So that will be 3x plus 5 times 0 equals 15. That's 3x equals 15, so x would equal 5. So the x-intercept's at 5. And the y-intercept is when x equals 0, so that would be 3 times 0 plus 5y equals 15. 5y equals 15, so y equals 3. So let's go ahead and plot these intercepts. So where it crosses the x-axis is x equals 5. Let me zoom in. So x equals 5. And the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis is at y equals positive 3. All right, so we have 2 points. Now let's draw our line. And whenever you're drawing a line, make sure that you have your arrows because it goes on forever in both directions. It is a line. All right, the next problem. The last problem, excuse me. So we have, let's find the x-intercept. And that's going to be 2x equals negative 3. Oh, sorry, I'm messing up here. Not equals, minus 3 halves times 0 equals negative 3. So that would be 2x equals -3, divide by 2, x equals -3 halves, or if you like mixed numbers, it doesn't matter, 1 1/2. Since we're not talking about slope, you can convert it to a mixed number. Okay, the next one, let's find the y-intercept. So you have when x equals 0, so it'll be 2 times 0 minus 3 halves y equals -3. So -3 halves y equals -3. Multiply by the reciprocal. So you get rid of that. So those cancel, and you have y equals, and it's a negative times a negative, so it's going to be positive. Those 3's cancel, so you have +2. So that's the y-intercept, and this is the x-intercept. So let's go ahead and plot that. -1 1/2 would be right about there. And then y equals 2, be right there. Try to draw a straight line with your arrows. And that is all I have for graphing.